Hey there, thanks so much for tuning into this video. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a spirit navigator. I'm a psychic medium, and today we're going to be talking politics. To my regular viewers, thank you so much for following me around the world, it seems like. Yes, I'm still traveling. I am moving, but I haven't gotten to my destination yet, as you can see, another background. So every couple of days, I have a timeout where I can do a video. So here we are. I want to cover a few things. I want to cover Joe Biden, his diagnosis, his prognosis, those sorts of things. I think people have been asking me, did I see this coming? And I would say to you that the guides were saying to me just before I started this video that they're saying, my guides are saying in December, I said something on a video to pray for Joe Biden, that he didn't look, that there was some health issue. Okay. So um yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us picked up on a health issue with Joe Biden. I didn't look specifically at his health. I don't really go deeply into personal things with people because then I know too much, and what if it doesn't come true? And it's just a mess, right? So I knew that he had a health challenge coming up. Also, another commenter, thank you. I think Robin is your name, said, I was on another channel and I said May 18th was going to be a big energetic day. I think that was the day that it became public that he announced that he has this health issue. Okay. Now, here's the thing. How is he going to do? Well, I got to say, when I go into his energy a little bit deeper, now that it's public knowledge, I feel like I think the news has already said it's metastasized, and I think that it is in his bones or his joints or ligaments. They're saying those words to me. I also think that it's treatable, and I think that Joe Biden is a tough guy. I don't. I think people underestimate Joe Biden all the time, right? And to their own demise, right? So I say pray for him, give him all the love that he can have. Also, I would say to you that now is the time to pay attention to who turns out to be a wolf in sheep's clothing, like Tapper, with his new book. But in your family or maybe even online, who is coming out and saying bad things about Joe Biden? Because that tells you everything you need to know, in my opinion, right? That tells you everything you need to know. This man was our president, regardless of anything else. He was our president, and he's got a diagnosis that none of us want to get. And if you can't have compassion for another human being, then that means that maybe you're not a compassionate person. And I think it's just an opportunity for you to, or for all of us, to separate people into camps, right? To know who they truly are. Now, in this case, Jake Tapper, we already knew who he was, right? And I do think that this was all sort of planned. I mean, they just told me his book was ghost written. I don't know this. This is for entertainment purposes only. But I want to say that this was a strategic, that like all of their books, I mean, nobody buys these books. It's in my way, allegedly, it's another way to money launder. Okay, you write a book and then we'll give you $5 million or $20 million, and we'll say it's book sales. You have to have a product to money launder, right? You got to have something to kind of prove that there was some transaction. So to me, these books are just a joke. They're not really meant. No one reads them. And the funny thing is, my guides said this morning, Susan, MAGAs don't read. I was like, you got a point there, And I also want to say I'm using my laptop camera. So I don't know if this image quality is very good, but I'm winging a prayer right now. So that's what I would say. Biden, I think he's going to be okay, but it reminds me of how I felt about King Charles, because it didn't, it just looked like, man, this guy's going to get a lot taken out of him. You know what I mean? Like a lot of vitality is going to be used or wasted fighting this. And that's kind of how I feel about Biden. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was, let's talk about the big beautiful bill, or the one big bill, or whatever they're calling this joke. right now. And I want to say to you that the guides predicted that they were going to come after Medicaid, and HUD, and all the things that surround Social Security. We predicted this months ago, um, and here we are. Here we are. I hate to predict things like this because then they come true, and it's crap, right? It's terrible, terrible news. So, and that's why the guides have been saying to you guys for months and months and months to please go to the food pantries and get food and take that $20 or take whatever it is you save and squirrel it away, because food prices are going to go up. Your health care. So unfortunately, I'm sorry, they're just telling me a lot of things at once. Okay, so I saw California, and then I saw red states. Okay, so blue states are going to try to fill the gap of the coverage. I don't think they're going to fill it all. Like, let's just use a round number of 100%. If you lost 100% of your health coverage because of Medicaid, some kind of thing that they've done, I feel like blue states are going to be able to fill in 75 to 85% of that coverage. In some cases 65%, but I think in average, let's say 75%. So you're going to be missing 25% of your healthcare, but you're going to find a way. And they're showing me patchwork, like just literally patching things together, like you would patch or repair a sweater and put patches on it to, or patch your roof with all of these patch covers. That's what they're showing me. So it won't be from one source. It'll be this group, this not-for-profit can cover. You can go to this optometrist. They've decided you can go to this hospital. So it's going to be literally like a patchwork situation. Now, when I go into red states, now there's also states in between blue and red. I'm going to get to that in a minute because I don't understand. But red states, I'm looking at like Mississippi, Alabama. They're showing me like Louisiana, West Virginia. Some of the poorest red states, maybe there's just there's no help. When I go into those states, if you're in a major city, if you're in a big city or a city that has a university that has a teaching hospital, so medical schools have hospitals, because how else are medical students going to have that experience, right? So if you're in a city that would have a medical school, I feel like there could be some grants. It feels to me like the energy across the board, red states, blue states, and whatever these in-between states is, the energy across the board is patchwork. And the energy is it's temporary, because for one thing, the energy suggests that they can't sustain this. This is not a sustainable, this is a temporary patchwork situation. So number one, they can't. But number two, they're going to be collecting data, and they're going to be leaning on these philanthropists, these people that have money, these groups. They're going to be really leaning on them to reverse whatever language in the bill or situation. It's almost like the states go to the government and say, okay, so we can't have Medicaid, but give us money for this. We'll call it something else, right? But when I see that, the federal government, I mean, and that's a sad state to say that in those words, considering who's running the federal government, because that's like an oxymoron. Federal government, it should be more like, the carny circus grift house. But anyway, they say, no, we're not giving you any money. It's a battle between the states and the government. It's a battle. And it's interesting because the guides are saying, I know that for me, when all these years that I've been talking to Republicans, they're all like, states' rights, states' rights. We're a republic, right? We're a republic, not a democracy, which is a bunch of bullshit. We are a republic, but we're governed as a democracy. So now the states that got the states' rights, K-states, you make your own decisions, you do your own thing. They don't have the money to take care of their citizens. And then they're going to get trounced in the midterms. They're going to get absolutely shellacked. And this is the second time the guides have used this word today with me, shellacked. So when they use certain words, just pay attention in the media because it's going to come up somewhere. I promise you. Whenever they have a specific word they want to use, it's almost always because it's coming up in the media in some way. So look for that word out there. But they're going to get shellacked in the midterms. And the thing about the midterms is I saw this, I saw a lot of this stuff a year ago and it didn't make any sense. It only makes sense now, The energy was there. If Kamala would have fulfilled her destiny, we would still be dealing with the same energy, but it would be reversed. Okay, so the energy is still there. We still have the same problems, but the felon is making these problems so much bigger, so much quicker that we're going to have to deal with them so much faster. Okay, that's basically the difference. But the thing that I saw was the midterms, and I said this on several videos. I said, if we don't do enough in 2025, and I said this specifically, I said, if we don't hit it out of the park, if let's say the Dems won the way we all think they did, and I'm going to just say again for my new viewers, hey, how you doing? Number one, no, that was not shot. Number two, he did not win. That I'm just going to die on those two hills. So if we would have completed everything the way it was supposed to without having been stolen, well, then we would have been under the same pressure to complete as much, to give as much to these millennials and people that are struggling as we could. And I don't think we could have done it because we wouldn't have had a big majority. We would have had like one seat. We would have been basically like the Republicans, but we would have had one seat. And the Democrats don't run roughshod over other people. When they have the majority by one or two seats, they try to be kumbaya, let's all sit down and let's all, figure this out together. So I'm telling you in the midterms in 26, and yes, we're going to have a midterms in 26. I've already read on this, but the situation that happened, of course, we still got gerrymandering and we still have intimidation and we still have all those things. But the other thing that happened allegedly with the, I'm looking for words that would keep me out of trouble, with the thing that we did on that day that I maintain was stolen, that is going to be fixed enough, like 95% fixed. So that's not going to be a problem so much. Or if it is a problem, it will be set up in such a way that it will be completely obvious and those companies will not take the fall. This is what I'm trying to say basically, is those companies are not going to take the fall for this. They're not. So they fixed whatever they needed to fix on their end. They closed the loops. They put in additional malware. They put in additional firewalls. Okay. And after this, if something breaks through those, they will turn it over. They will turn that evidence over. They're not involved in this and they don't want to go to jail. Okay. That's why I think we're going to have an ELECTION in 26. But here's the thing. It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild in a bad way because by then, the division among the Democrats, I've talked about the Democratic Party splitting. I talked about it last year. I still see it happening because you've got the old guard in there that want to run it a certain way. And I think they capitulate Frankly, I think in a way that they capitulate. In a way, I feel like the game is rigged. I hate to say this, but I really feel like that. Like the Republicans say, we'll take it, you know, we'll ruin it, but we'll give it back to you. You fix it, but you can't fix it too much, right? Like everybody has their roles to play and everybody plays their role. I mean, this is how I see it. This is what I see the old guard doing. I really do. That is very controversial probably, but that's what I see the old guard doing. Because how many times have they dropped the ball? How many times did they not help Biden? How many times did they attack Kamala? It's almost like they're not on our side. So anyway, come 26, these divisions could be worse. And they just showed me a picture of the Biden and Jake Tapper thing. There are Democrats that are coming out against Biden. And like, what? You know what I mean? Like, what are you even talking about? Right? So the right is trying to sow more discord in the Democratic Party. This is how they operate. They get in there, they drop misinformation, disinformation. They have trolls that go in the Democratic circles or in my comments and pit everybody against each other and, just basically stir the pot. Okay. So if this continues happening, we get to 26 and we have really the Wild West. The guides just called it like a Wild West show. Like it's kind of like unpredictable. But there's a lot of young energy as well. That might be an astrological feature. I don't know, but there feels like there's a lot of young energy, like young people, really young people that are just like, we don't care, but a little bit like David Hogg, right? Like if you've been following the David Hogg chronicles, you know what I mean? Like him and Malcolm Kenyatta are going at each other. They're both Democratic chairs or vice chairs or whatever they are. And the reason that went down the way it did was the vote, according to Democrat bylaws, there was supposed to be one of those two slots, either David's or Malcolm's, was supposed to be a woman. And that's not how the vote went down. The vote was done so that you could vote for anybody. There was no guardrails. So the vote is invalid. It's not about anything else other than the vote is invalid. But then David Hogg went out and said, this is a personal attack on me. And he made it about himself. And that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It doesn't show a lot of maturity. He's kind of acting like a victim, when in reality, this was a mistake, right? He could have come out and said, this was poor management, or he could have blamed a lot of things, right? Like, how could they allow this to happen? This is why Iran is to come in here and correct these things. He could have actually taken the high road and educated us and then actually used it as a platform to show us how he's going to make our party better. But instead, he kind of cried spilled milk. So, but anyway, regardless of that, that's the energy I see coming in 26 is this brash. We don't care about your rules. We don't care about your traditions. We don't even care about you. Literally, like new, rash, brash, really off the chain energy coming in 26. This is not like anything that you have seen. This is not AOC. This is not Jasmine Crockett. This is not David Hogg. These people are even more take no prisoners. They're just not gonna, they're gonna burn the rules down. They're gonna be like, these rules are broken. They don't work for anybody. We're not gonna follow these rules. And they're gonna get in there and they're really gonna stir everything up. And this seems to be a theme, doesn't it? It seems to be a theme where we have to just burn it all to the ground. Like everything has to be melted down, dissolved. And then from that beginning place, the ashes, the phoenix rises. And that's interesting because that's what they always said about Ukraine. They always said from the ashes, the phoenix will rise. And that was Ukraine. And I just think this is our energy everywhere. You just had the Nottoway plantation burn to the ground, right? And happy to see. I'm sorry to say I'm happy to see it, because it wasn't used as a historical, let's never do this again. It's not like it wasn't like it wasn't like the Holocaust Museum in Houston, where you go because you want to pay your respects and you want to see the depravity, the evil, and you want to see it so it sears in your mind so that you know that you're never going to let this happen again. No, these plantations were actually wedding venues and hotels, and they changed the name of the slave quarters to cottages and then let people rent them. I mean, this is aberrant and abhorrent. It's both aberrant and abhorrent. I'm not sure which one the guides were saying, but they both fit, right? So there's this sense of burning it all down, because we can't continue to build on this history that's built on lies and deceit and evil doings. And the same thing happened with the Native Americans and the Indian schools, and all the races, right, that are not white, that were harmed. This is all about a reckoning. Okay, so this is the same energy. I'm just trying to link this for you. This is the same energy as the 26 midterms. There's this sense of take no prisoners, of there's nothing to lose here. It's not worth saving. We must go ahead and let it burn all the way to the ground, and then we can, after that, we can pick it up. We can then walk through the ruins and see what's available. And you know what they're showing me? If longtime viewers, you're gonna remember all the things I'm saying, because I said 2 years ago, dissolution, dissolving. Remember when I said that every other video? Things are going to dissolve. Remember when I said media is going to dissolve? It's not going to be there anymore. It's going to move to online, to YouTube. I said Hollywood is going to dissolve. It's going to move to YouTube. This is all the breaking down of all the institutions, which I know is astrological, but I don't know what it is. Everything needs to break down right now, because we're in a transition. We're evolving. Caterpillar cannot make it into a butterfly unless it melts down into goo. You have to break down what's not working and then start again. And the thing the guides were going to say was, I don't know if you guys remember this, but I talked about, this was probably a year and a half ago, I don't know, but the guides kept showing me this rubble and smoldering embers. Okay, so it's like a ground, and they actually just now called it hollowed ground, or hollow ground, not hollowed, not like hollow, empty, but hollowed, like sacred ground. Okay, so they've now added sacred ground to this image, but the image was dirt. The grass is gone. Everything is burned. Every once in a while, you'll see a piece of a fragment of something, and you might think, I wonder, wait, is this what I think it is? Like, is it something that I recognize? But in that image, all those years ago, I saw Liz Cheney walking through this burned out patch of ground, kicking thing, and it was still smoldering. And she was kicking things with a boot. And what they told me at the time was that was the Republican Party. And she was walking through because it was gone. But she wanted to make sure, she was making sure that it was gone. And then she was going to go through, and if there was anything salvageable, she would salvage it. But if not, it would be a total loss, and she would be the heir apparent to lead it once more. I've talked about this a lot in my videos in the past. So you have this same energy, the same cyclical pattern of burning it all down, of reducing it to its essence, perhaps maybe reducing it to its innocence, the innocence. The ground under the Nottoway plantation is innocent now. It's been returned to its innocence. And from there, we'll see what happens. You know, I know that guy is talking about rebuilding, but I'm going to tell you that I don't think the ancestors on that property, the energies of that land, are going to let that land, I believe, eventually. Now, I think there's lawsuits. There could be some kind of, I don't know, there's some kind of lawsuits that happen. This is down the road, not tomorrow, but maybe 6 months or a year down the road. But in the end, I feel like that land could become, or they just showed me Tyler Perry buying it, because Tyler Perry already bought. What did he buy? A Civil War? He bought something and turned it into his own either home or studios. But he bought something that was indicative of slavery and that type of energy. So it's either someone like Tyler Perry or somebody with that kind of money that would be of Black descent, of Black race, to come and say, no, we're going to take this back. We're going to take it back, and we're going to clear it and heal it, and we're going to hold it. We're going to hold space for healing of that land. You know? And I hate to say it, but this is lost on white people. I mean, it's just, I mean, I know I'm white. I'm just reading, I'm just telling you the energy. They don't get it. Like, I don't know, man. They don't get it. It's a sad state of humanity for white people, truly. Because this is all our lessons to learn. These are all our lessons to learn. All of this, everything that's happening right now has everything to do with white people and our lessons, right? So that's what I see happening with that stuff. Let me just tell you about, they're directing me back to that bill. I did talk about Medicaid. I did talk about stopgap. Now they're calling it a stopgap measure. It's not going to cover 100%. It might cover, it's going to cover over 50%, but not 100%. There's still going to be people that have issues. I think also, what I would also tell to you if you're watching this video is be public, be vocal. You know, if we go back into our homes and die in our bedrooms because we're not getting care, then we didn't make anybody uncomfortable. Then we didn't scream our truth. We didn't show our humanity. Get out on the street. If you are one of these people that could be affected by this, get out on the street. Call your local news station and say, if I don't get this, and the guides have said this before, they're just reminding me, they have said this before. Call your local news station and say, I'm going to be incapacitated, dead, whatever, in 3 months. Make them see your face. This is our lesson, to be humanity, to have humanity, to be humane, to have community. So if we just retreat and disappear, that's what they want. They want us to disappear. They want us to be quiet. They want us to go back into our, to the alleyways or, and hide. We're not going to do that. The guides have been telling me this for months now. And now it makes sense. And that is in the 80s, in the 1980s, during the horrible AIDS situation. The mantra was silence equals death. So they weren't silent. They went to Congress. They got on the streets. They protested. They marched. They made themselves visible. You have to put a human face to the suffering. You can't be silent. So what we can do is we can all protest. We can all have healthcare marches, Medicaid marches, humanity marches. where we're holding signs that says, I'm human. I deserve health care. I deserve, a shelter, food, the basics, right? We have to shame them. We have to shame them, make them ashamed of themselves. Please don't retreat. Instead, go out into the public and be as big and as vocal as you possibly can be, because when that happens, they're going to try to buy you off, because that's what they do, right? So then you're going to see what I just heard was a supplemental bill, some kind of supplemental bill that's going to I wish I could tell you that it's going to fix it, but it's not. But it is going to add. So let's say the state is providing 50% of your health care, then the government steps in with 30%, and then you're up to 80%. Again, I wish I could say that I wish I could tell you you're going to have universal health care, everything's going to be great. I don't see that. I don't see it right now. I do see universal health care, and this is one of the reasons why I see it, because we don't want our grandparents, these kids don't want their grandparents to come live with them. Medicaid pays for, all of these people in nursing homes. This is going to literally break our whole system. Not only that, but then you have them breaking the economy. All these things are going to break at one time. Now they're trying to play the shell game, oh, this one's going to break. No, we pulled back the tariffs. Now this one's going to break. No, we're going to pull back. So they're trying to kind of hit and do damage and then pull back, hit, do damage, pull back. And by this way, hit several sectors, but not let them collapse, but definitely knock them down. Because if we're tired, if we're angry, if we're exhausted and we give up, then we don't get in the streets. Then we don't make a big deal about it. Then we're not out there in front of them saying, hey, I matter. Republicans did this, right? So the way out of this is to be in the streets and hang in there, right? Do everything you can. I do, the community is very important right now. So I see communities, even if you have a small, like I'm traveling right now and I'm driving through some small towns, like a couple of 5,000 people total. And, in almost every one of those small towns, I saw a senior center. So that's the town of 5,000 people that there's no Walmart. Okay. Like I don't know where these 5,000 people live or how they got money to fund a senior center, but that's community, right? They're coming together to maybe volunteer and to help and to take care of each other. That is what we're here to learn, right? That's what we're here to learn. And being in front of them and shaming them will help them find their humanity. Or if they don't find it, then they're going to be pariahs and they're not going to be able to go anywhere. They're not going to be able to travel the world because people are going to hate them, right? So this is all coming down on their heads and it will have an impact and we will get through this and we will get on the other side of this. We will. I see it. We're on the other side. And on the other side is a place where we can put all the things that we've learned together and say, well, I learned that I need to have more disability or more Social Security or more planet care of our environment or care for kids or Meals on Wheels or DEI needs to come back. My God, our DEI is going to not only come back, but it's going to come back double what it was. And not only that, but what I see is the Black community and also other communities that are being attacked right now. They're going to come back stronger than ever before. They're going to use these attacks to find their inner, not that they don't have it, but they're going to become even more powerful, even more empowered, even more assured of themselves. And they're going to step out in this power like we've never seen before. So this is all the energy that's happening. It's roiling, it's boiling, it's getting ready to erupt. And I'm going to tell you, when these communities step forth in their power, they're not going to need any white person. I see Black banks. I see Black social clubs. I just see an expansion of cultural businesses taking care of their own culture, whether it's Hispanic, LGBTQ, Asian, Black, whatever it is, because we know that we can't rely on the government. We know, just like the world knows, they can't rely on the United States now. We know that we're not going to put our safety in the hands of the United States government. We're going to create our own communities. We're going to create our own banks. We're going to create our own social structures. And yes, that means that we're going to be more siloed, more segregated in a sense. But that's what happens when you're under attack. You circle the wagons. And that's what I see happening, is this circling around communities, new gatekeepers. And I'm not saying this is for the best. I'm saying this is what I see, because until we can sort out who's safe and who isn't, we're going to have to close ranks, basically, is what the guides are saying. And the last thing I want to say, because this hit me today and it's quite sad, honestly. I don't know what's happening with farmers. I assume it's not good. I know a lot of farms are owned by big agricultural corporations, but I see a lot of farmers really having issues with mental health and depression. So if you live in farm country, or you're a farmer, you family that's farmers, take really good care of yourself, okay? I think, again, that is very isolating. We just talked about communities, right? Like, even if they're siloed communities, meaning, a group of community here, a group of community here, a group of community there, you still have the community. It's just like a church. You have your church community, or you have your community of people that you go do trivia with, whatever your community is, or it's a cultural or a racial organization. That's a community. These farmers are out there by themselves. There's no community. It's very isolated. And I really feel pretty heart-stricken about them as a cohort, as a group. And when I get these images, when I get these feelings, I'm usually a little bit in the future. I'm seeing this in the future is what I'm saying. So this might not be now, but now's a good time for intervention. So I think they're also telling me, as the government stopped, there was some mental health intervention, some kind of intervention for farmers. And I think that's been cut. Also, I just see lots of mental health issues, guys. I'm seeing mental health issues in our ranks and our military. I think mental health issues are going to go up, as this sense of uselessness or despondency or disconnection happens. That's why community is so important. If you're sitting in your home by yourself, please find a community. Online community, in your hometown community, your neighbors, find somebody to have community with. It's important, especially right now, because we need we need someone to lean on. We need somebody who understands us, especially if you're in a situation where you're living with someone who has opposite political beliefs than you do, or you just feel very isolated. Okay, that's the energy, is this isolation. If you're feeling isolated, I want you to reach out to people and try and make connections with people. And I'll end this video by saying, I talk about this every video, but I will tell you guys, all of us, I think all of us on the political psychic community, because there's a whole community. If you're new watching this video, there's actually a whole community of us. we all have memberships, right? Some of them are $2.99, some of them are more. Find your people, whoever they are, wherever they are. Find people that you resonate with. I have a free community called Lighthouse Keepers Crew. It's completely free. You can go to my website, SusanLynnMedium.com, and you can find the access for that. And you just agree to the rules of the group, and you're in. There's over 2,000 people there hanging out, supporting each other. Just literally, it's like a Facebook group, but it's not Facebook. This is not any one of those organizations or companies. It's not Facebook. It's not Meta or Zuckerberg or YouTube. It's none of those. Okay. It's a separate organization called Mighty Networks that's run by a woman, and I pay for it. It's mine. You're safe. Your data's safe. Think about joining that. Think about finding people who get you. Even if you don't want to communicate or post, you can lurk. You know what I mean? You can just lurk. That's fine. You can go and read the post and not say anything, and that's fine too. If you want more than that, I have a premium community for $12 a month. But for that $12 a month, I'm there twice a month, once a month giving readings to my members. I don't do readings anymore. I only offer them to my members. And the other time I'm there is for Soul Growth Sunday, which is a special event that I've been having for years, which is pretty awesome because my spirit guides give us questions to ask. And we do a lot of deep diving into ourselves and learning, right? So I think part of what I'm here to do is to teach you how to fish, right? Is to teach you how to grow your vibration, teach you how to communicate to your spirit guides, teach you how to navigate this life easier and more fulfilling. Okay. You can find all that out on my website, SusanLynnMedium.com. Also, don't forget, I have a new YouTube channel, Susan Lynn Spiritual Way Shower, with all my spiritual videos. You guys, if you want it, I know y'all are all about politics, but I'm telling you how to get through this alive in one piece and come out the other side intact is through the spiritual work. And it's not even that much work. On the channel you're watching now, I have over 80 videos on how to raise your vibration, all those things. If you want to catch my newer videos, please go over to my new channel. My guides asked me to make that because something happens to this channel due to the nature of the kind of work that I do. They wanted me to have a separate YouTube channel so people could find me. So maybe you just want to go over there and subscribe just so that you can find me if something happens to this channel. Things are about to get pretty dicey, pretty rough and tumble because, you know, when you corner an animal, they're more dangerous then than any other time, right? If you see a wolf out in a field, no big deal. But if the wolf is in your garage and you're in the doorway, you got a problem, right? So that's where we are on this timeline, is we have to dissolve all of this. We have to break it all down because it wasn't built on truth. We didn't build this country on truth or on honesty or on humanity. We built it on slavery. We built it on taking people's land, taking people's lives. We built it on that. And this is a reckoning. Spirit is saying, you gotta fix this. The land wants to heal itself. The vibration is rising. Therefore, you've got to come to a reckoning. You've got to come to a new understanding about who you are and what you are, and fix it. Fix it to the best of your ability. Okay. So that's where we are. That's why we're going through this. And we're not done yet, right? We've got to still break down some more of these institutions that are built on those lies and injustice. And truly, this is a time for you to actually grow, for you to actually make more money. I'm not kidding you. Millionaires are going to be made right and left. But you have to get out of the victim mode. You have to get out of your room, out of your house, and out of this mentality that it's all ruined. Why should I do anything? Nothing is worth anything anymore. But the truth of the matter is that it's all ruined, but somebody's going to get to rebuild it. Who is that person? I want you at the table with me. I want all of us at the table. standing up for what we want, having a voice. So that means taking really good care of yourself right now and pacing yourself so that on the other side of this, the people with the true hearts, the true souls, the enlightened beings can come out into the sunlight and say, we're saddened, our heart is broken for what has happened. We're going to grieve this. We're going to grieve it. Now, we're going to sit with each other and we're going to start again. We're going to start anew. That's a much more beautiful and much better outcome than them making us all feel like victims and making us all feel like we're lost and nothing matters. We're despondent. Nothing's ever going to get any better, Susan. Nothing's ever going to get any better. They've won, because on the other side of this, they're going to rebuild it the way they want. And we don't want that, because we know it's going to be better, because we're still here. Our light is still shining. We're still shining the light for those in the tunnel. I always tell you guys, when you're in the dark tunnel and you're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, it's not a train. It's people celebrating the birthday, having that picnic, getting to that phone call or connecting with those friends, finding that community. They're glowing. That's the light in the tunnel. And sometimes you're in the tunnel, I'm in the tunnel, and it's pitch black. But we see that light, we see that glow, and we know there's light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes you're the light at the end of the tunnel for people. And sometimes they're the light at the end of the tunnel for you. That's the way life works. It's never going to be always bright and sunny. It's not always going to be bright and sunny. Sometimes it's going to be dark and moody and stormy. But we wait long enough, the sun comes out, okay? Take really good care of yourselves. I'll see you in a few days. I'm driving and stopping and driving and stopping, and and at some point I'm going to get to my new home, but it's going to be several weeks to a month before I get there. I'm not leaving the country. I'm just driving. It took me a whole day to get out of Texas. I mean, come on. So it's all good. Life is going to be okay. Okay. I've got you, you've got me, and that counts for something, doesn't it? Okay. Take really good care of yourself. I'll see you again really soon.